Hey there, everyone. Chris Mack here, and today's topic is going to be controversial. And it's my fifth time trying this, and each time it's been over 10 minutes. So I'm going to try and keep it fast. So I feel like influencers are destroying the concept of contentment, not contempt, contentment, being happy with what you have. And here's what I mean by that. We in the EDC community very much get sucked into what is the newest product out there. That's really cool. That's really awesome. And I think sometimes we need to look back and be more concerned about, do we need to replace what we currently have? And at this point, I'm going to take 2 seconds to say, if you hear a baby crying in the background, I promise my wife is in there with the little one and she's fine. But if you can happen to hear it through the wall, that's her. So, and I can't say that I've ever, with the exception of one time, I have never purchased a product for the purpose of doing a review on it, except for one time. And that was a odd situation. It was back in my Instagram days. Someone had asked me about a particular knife, and it was Barstow. It's one of my very first videos if you're interested. But it was the Barstow knife. And someone had asked me about it and if I thought it was a good knife or not. And I was like, I don't own one. I have absolutely no clue. So I went ahead and bought one so that way I could answer that question of okay, here's what it looks like. Here's what I think. But other than that one video, that one time, I have never purchased anything for the purpose of reviewing it. I've always purchased something because I've wanted it. I've needed it. More so, I've wanted it. And then I end up doing a review on it. And I think we need to, as a society, get back to our roots in many ways of first being content with what we have, and that concept of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, and I'll get to the reference here in a sec. And then the other thing is that we need to also get back to learning to do with what we have, because we might have not. Going back to the generation of the Great Depression and how they would work with things because they didn't have better or know that there was better. I remember a time, whenever you wanted something new, you had to get the catalog, like the Sears catalog or the Cabela's catalog, and you had to look to find the item number. You had to fill out a piece of paper with that item number. Then you had to list how many of them you wanted. You had to do the math and add up your total. At the very, very bottom, you had to write a check and then mail that to the company and then wait for them to process that order and then mail it to you. This crap of getting on Amazon and going free 2-day shipping and saying mine, after perusing for a few seconds, didn't exist. And it was a simpler, better time, in my opinion. And here's what I mean by that. This was my EDC flashlight. Not this exact one. This one's actually out of my wife's car. This was my EDC flashlight for about 10 years, especially whenever I was doing EMS. And there is nothing wrong with a mini mag light. I mean, it comes with a spare bulb in the back. It runs on AA batteries that you can get anywhere. They're practically bomb proof. You can smack somebody up alongside the head if you have to with this thing. And you can widen the beam, tighten the beam, or you can go all Indiana Jones going down the hallway with this thing. When I ran EMS, this was on my hip every day. And there was nothing wrong with this. It didn't need to be upgraded. And now here I am after a long personal adventure of being sucked down the rabbit hole of I need the bigger, badder, bestest thing. And now here I am, because if I recall correctly, back in the 90s, this was like 15 or 20 bucks. Now here I am with a over $100 flashlight that has rechargeable batteries, yay, but whenever the battery inside dies on this thing, you have to send it back to the company or it's junk. So this is kind of like a one-time wonder, but this is still my favorite EDC light now. But I went through multiple to get here. And the reason I'm doing this video is, one, to tell myself this, but also, as I said, with my wife and I having our first child here a few weeks ago, I'm doing videos that are beginning to be geared towards her later on in life, if I happen to not be around when she's older, that of If it's not broke, don't fix it. You don't have to spend money on something newer or better when you're perfectly capable. Because here's the thing. I personally flat out cannot tell you where I was ever in a situation with this flashlight where I went, ooh, I wish I had the lumens of something better. I cannot tell you that. I can't. And I can't tell you the number of lumens on both of these. I really can't. But like I said, I cannot tell you a time where I had this flashlight and went, oh, I wish this was brighter. It worked. It did the job. And yet here I am. So this is to tell me that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Do you really need an upgrade? Is there anything wrong with what you currently have? And yeah, be content with what you have, because there are people out there in this world who are, and one of the things that got me on this video, and I did, one of my other first videos was Enough EDC, and it was me discussing about a particular YouTuber who did some shaming of people in a video based on their like or use of, whether it be if you want to call it a clone or a knockoff or whatever, but then went further into it. And I flat out called this person on the carpet out in comments, and he was very snarky back. I was subscribed to him years ago. But I flat out called him on the carpet, like, you realize when your channel first started, it was all about budget tools. It was about being budget minded. It was about homemade stuff of like, hey, this is what this product is. You can make this at home for cheaper. And it was about doing what you needed to get the job done that you had to do. And now this particular person is huge in the EDC world, and he acts like that if it's not brass or copper or titanium or the newest thing, or if it's not a Sebenza, then you're garbage if you don't own this stuff. What's wrong with you? And it really got to me. And I've fallen off the horse myself whenever it comes to that, of falling down the rabbit hole of buying things that I don't need when I already have tools that do the job. And how all of this started was actually I was reviewing a tool that I do need. I don't have one, so I was actually reviewing a tool that I need. And one of the videos that I had watched, because I watched several, I couldn't tell you which one, I wish I could reference it for you, but it got me thinking on this topic. And in short, in this video, the person was saying, okay, he was reviewing 4 different versions and brands of the tool. And he went from, okay, 1 is garbage, 2 is garbage, 3 is awesome. 3 will do the job all day, every day, no problems whatsoever. You're good to go. You will be fine with number 3. This is its price tag. Number 4 costs 5 times as much, but if you ever use number 4, you'll never go back to number 3 again. But there's nothing wrong with number 3, and it's much cheaper. And it made me go, wow, did I need to know there was an option number 4 at all then, really? And I think that's where we get into trouble when it comes to influencers today, is that I know my wife follows folks on Instagram where they'll get stuff from Target and they'll order it. They'll do a little 30-second snippet of like, oh, this is cute, you should buy this. And then they stick it in a box and return it. So they're not even committing to buying something. They're truly borrowing it and then sending it back, getting the money back and being like, okay, I tried it, here's the link, moving on. And I see that a lot in the EDC community as well. You'll see people review stuff and then you'll never see it in any of their videos ever again of, okay, you said that was an amazing tool. Why is it in a box collecting dust now and you're not actually using it anymore? Was it all that great then? So yeah, this is advice for myself, advice for other folks like me, and also, like I said, again, for future generations of my family, for my little girl, of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Be content with what you have. And if you have any questions, just come ask Daddy. Thanks for watching. As always, it's Chris Mack.